Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Hayami Maseches Tamid of Lamed Aleph. We are on Lamed Beis, beginning a new parak. So it's the third parak of Maseches Tamid, starting 6 lines off the bottom. Let's proceed with the Karban Tamid. So they have a lamb, and they're about to do the shechita. Says the Mishnah, Lo yayu koysen as hatala. They wouldn't totally tie him up. Ela makidenoisai. They wouldn't tie up all his legs. They would just do a hand and a leg, and then another hand and a leg tied. That's called Akedah, like Akedas Yitzchak. Actually, the Gemara will tell us. The Mefarsh says, Kakedas Yitzchak ben Avram, which is the words of the Gemara later, is meant to elicit the zchus, to arouse the remembrance of the tremendous Mesiras Nefesh Akedas Yitzchak, who was also bound in this fashion. Hence, they would apply a similar formula. They would do the Akedah on the Tleh. Now, those Kohanim who were not doing the actual Shechita of the Zrika, rather, they were there to transport the parts over to the Mizbeach. They were right there, and they would hold down the animal and help with the with the Shechita process. And this is how they would bind him. This is how they would position the animal during the Shechita. Roisha Ladarim. So if I'm coming from east to west, I have the Mizbeach in front of me. And the Shechita took place in the area called Beis HaMitbachayim, which had those in-ground rings, the posts, the tables, used to process the karban. So the animal was positioned with his head facing the Mizbeach. So it was going from right to left, from Tzafin to Dorin. It's meant to be Al Yerech HaMizbeach, right? To the leg of the Mizbeach, to the bottom of the Mizbeach, as close as possible. Upon of Lamar, but his face, they would twist his face towards the west. Should be also Lefnei Hashem, towards the Shechina. So they would sort of accomplish both at once. As close as possible to the base of the Mizbeach, but also facing the Heichal Lefnei Hashem. And the Kohen doing the Shechita, he was standing Mizrach, facing Mar. So over the animal, he would do the Shechita like that. Now they had these rings. Actually, it was 24 rings in total. Which ones would they use for the Karban Tamid? It depends. As we would have seen in the Gemara, the Shechita is meant to take place Neged HaYayim, opposite of the Yayim. What's the Yayim? In this context, it means the sun, which makes day. Unobstructed by walls, by shadows. So in the morning, when the sun rises from the east, you would try to find the most extreme, the furthest to the west, to do the Shechita, hoping you get a direct view of the sun. The time of the evening was just the opposite. The sun was now at the west. You would try to push all the way to the extreme east to get an unobstructed view of the Yom. Shal Shachar, the Talmud of the morning, would be Shecht al Keren Tzfoinis Maravis. So it was near the Safan Marav, corner of the Mizbeach. The second ring, meaning it wasn't the first row of rings near the Mizbeach, it was the next row over, to avoid any shadow from the Mizbeach. So again, if I'm going east to west, Mizbeach in front of me. To the right we had the rings. There were rows of rings. Talmud Shal Shachar, where the sun was coming from east, we would go all the way to the western side of the rings. So it's Marav. The Mizbeach is here, so it's Marav Tzafan of the Mizbeach, that corner. But it wasn't, like we said, it wasn't the first row right next to the Mizbeach. Was run over Tabashniya. This way you're free and clear and exposed to the light of the sun. In the evening, you would have the second row, but all the way to the eastern side of the Mizbeach. So it was Tzafan Mizrach of the Mizbeach, again on the second row of rings. This way you're direct line to the sun, which is now at the west. So again, Shal Shachar, in the evening, it was the same spot, but exactly on the other side. It was near the eastern southern corner of the Mizbech on the second ring. Sheicha did his shchita, the Makabel collected the blood, and now he's about to do the Zrika on the corners of the Mizbech, right alongside him. He would walk over to the southern Mizrach corner of Noisan, Mizrach Tzfayna, apply the blood right at the corner. Part of the blood goes to the Mizrach side, part to the Tzafan, right? So he hits it on the corner, splatters in most directions. Then he walks over to the corner, directly on the other side of that diagonal, so Maravis Droimus. And again, he would place the blood at the corner, Maravis Droimus. Shira, left over the blood, so Yishayvach, he would pour into the Yisoid, El Yisoid Droimus, the base of the Mizbeach, at the Durim side of the Mizbeach. That was the halacha. That's where he would place pour the leftover of the blood. Continues the Mishnah. So up to the next Amud. Now he'd like to take apart the animal, dissect the parts. So typically what the butchers would do is they would bore sort of like a hole into one of the hind legs and have the other one loop into it to make sort of a loop, and they would hang it up on a hook. But that wasn't very respectful for a korban, so they wouldn't do it that way. Rather, they would make like a hole into the through the knee, and they would hang the animal directly like that. The parish says it would make a hole, in each knee, and hang him up like that, each leg on his hook. Okay, so he starts removing the hide downwards, and until he gets to the chaz area, which is his chest area, down in the bottom. So the head of the animal is now hanging down, so he'd go all the way down. Once he gets to the chaz, he removes the head, which is a chabad, he gives it to the kayin, who is to transport that to the mizbeach. He removes the legs, gives it to that kayin. Okay, he pulled off the rest of the hide. He tore open the lave and took out the blood, which doesn't belong on the mizbeach. So the krayim are the bottoms of the leg. Now the yadayim are the actual front, the front legs, front hands. The actual. He took them off in a sanan and handed them l'misha zocha ben to the kohen, who was meant for. Ola regel hayamanis travels up, which is now to the hind of the animal, to the right hind leg. Cuts it off in a sana and hands it to its kohen l'misha zocha ubeis beitzim imo with the two testicles. Kroi. So now he tore open the whole animal, and the whole inside is now open. He pulls out the fats, and plates it on the head of the animal, the beis hashchita, place of the actual cut, to cover it with the fats, to conceal the makam hashchita, which was out of respect to the korban. You would cover it and transport it like that. Not less of kravaim. He takes the insides of the animal, and the son gives it over to the kayin, the misha zachben ladichan, to its kayin, to take it and rinse him out from the waste that is contained within the keres. Now the keres, the actual stomach that was washed out thoroughly. Madichan oisa beisat madichan. You take it to a special place beisat madichan. You wash it properly. Madichan oisa kol tzarcha. You wash it as much as you kravaim, the other innards, which weren't as full of, madichan oisan shalosh pam b'miutan. They would wash it a minimum of 3 times. Al shulchan shal shayish. Put them on those marble tables situated alongside the post that we discussed yesterday. It didn't need special treatment over to the Beis HaMadichan. They did it locally with Notos Hasakan. He takes back his knife. He separates the reya, the lungs, from the liver, because each one goes to a different kayin. Each one belongs to a different part of the animal. Likewise, the part called the etzba kavod, that's also separated from the kavod. He wouldn't take it out of its place, just he would sort of separate so that Eventually he can, give them, allot them to different kohanim. Like it was a chaza, he opens up the, cuts out the chest area, that he gives to the proper kohen. Okay, what's next? The daifin. Daifin is, the flank, the side. All the daifin, so he travels up to the right flank, he's cutting through the bones, so he cuts through the vertebrae, but leaves the spine intact. Because the spine is going to be part of the other daifin. That's going to go to the other kohen. He wouldn't tamper with the shedra, that stays intact. So he cuts down through the vertebrae, right alongside the spine, until he gets down to the neck area, and he stops right at the last two vertebrae. Base lois daka, thin, pliable, more softer vertebrae, so that he leaves alone. That's not part of his chunk. That will go together with the neck. Chatacha, he severs the daifin and gives it to the kohen. To which is also attached to the liver. Okay. Bolo the gera. He proceeds to the gera, which is the neck area, which, as we said, is going to come along with the two bones on either side of the spine. So it's a total of 4 bones. Bolo the gera, so along with it, he allows the 2 bones, state slice mikan, 2 bones on either side. Chatacha. He severs that chunk, and Asana, gives it to the appropriate kohen. What else is attached to, what else is part of this package? Hakana, the trachea, Valev, and the heart, Vareya, and the lungs, are attached to this section. Okay, now he's up to the left flank, which is the flank, all the vertebrae on that side, minus the last 2 on either side, on top and the bottom of the animal, because the ones at the front belong to the neck area, the ones in the back belongs to the tail area. Bolo defin asmolas, hayinich b'shtei tzoyes dakas malmalon, b'shtei tzoyes dakas mlamaton. So he cuts away, but it leaves behind those 2 thin bones on top, which means to the back of the animal, that will go along with the back area, and 2 mlamat on the bottom towards the neck, as he would also leave when he did the other flank. Nimsa, so it turns out, maniach, in total, how many did he leave behind? How many were deducted from the flanks? Shtayim mlamala. So towards the top, which means the back of the animal, 2 were left on either side, that were not taken with the flanks. The one on the right left 2 behind, the one left of 2 behind. And the same, correspondingly, Milmat on the bottom at the neck area. So 2 bones on either side were left over for the neck. Chatacha, he detached the left flank, and the gives it to the right kohen. Ashidra ima, with which comes also the spine, with the spleen attached to it. Truthfully, this was the larger of the 2 flanks. So why did they call the right one? Why did they call that the big one? Because of its prominence, because of its added feature. Because it had the liver with it. That's why it had extra prominence. Now he's up to the aikets, which is behind the area. He removes it with the 2 bones on either side, and grants it to the right kohen. Ha'alya, ve'etzba kavod, ubeis kleis imoy, with which come the tail, ve'etzba kavod, and the 2 kidneys. Not also regla smolas. Okay, he grabs hold of the left hind leg, cuts it off, and the son gives it to the right kohen. Nimtzu kulan, oim the mishuras. Now all the kohanim are lined up, each one with his portion. Vayvarim b'yadam, with the limbs, with the Yevarim in their hands. As follows. We turn to the base. And they have to hold it a very specific way. Harishan, the first kohen on the line, was holding the head, Baroish, Ubaregel, the head, and the hind leg, the right hind leg. And he held it like this. Harosh b'minay, the roish, which is the most prominent portion, that was in his right hand, v'choit meklap his right, with the nostril towards his arm. So towards him, the kohen. Karna ben Espoisav, the horns of the animal were situated between his fingers, The severance, the place of the shechita, was actually facing up, covered with the fat, as we explained before, pader nosan oleh. Haregel shlimin b'smoila. In his left hand, he had the hind leg, the right hind leg. We saw in the chutz, and the cut was sort of concealed. So the base on the part which had been covered with hide, so the sealed part, the more pleasant-looking side of the portion, that was exposed to the outside, facing out. Okay, that's kohen number one. Behind them we have the second kohen, Hasheni b'shtei yadayim, holding the two hands. Shol yamin, the right hand, b'mina in his right hand. Shol smoil, the left hand, b'smoil in his left hand. The base of the chutz, once again, the smooth part facing out. Ashlishi, the third kohen, ba'iketz b'regel, the hind area and the left hind leg. Ha'iketz b'minoi, the iketz in his right hand. Ba'alyam b'dodel ben etzba'isa, with the tail dangling between his fingers. B'etzba'kavet v'teit lo'is imoi, together with the etzba'kavet and two kidneys. And what did he have in his left hand? In his left hand, he had the left hind leg. Ubeis are in the chutz, with the smooth part facing out. Haravi, the fourth kohen, b'chaz b'gera, the chest area and the neck area. Chaz b'mina, chaz in his right, goyen in his left. He positioned the bones between his fingers. That's how he'd hold it. The fifth kohen had the two flanks. The right one in his right hand. The left flank in his left hand, based on the chutz, with the smooth part facing out. The sixth kohen, he had a bazach, a container, like a big spoon, which contained the insides of the animal. He had the bottoms of the legs sort of perched on them, on the innards. Hazayin, the next kohen, B'Sailas, holding the flour for the mincha. Ashmini, the eighth, B'chavitim, holding the chavitim. Atshi, B'yayin, with the wine. Halchu, Nasanum. So they went to the Mizbeach and they placed it on the ramp. Mechatzi, Kevesh Lamata. On the bottom half of the Mizbeach, of the ramp, Ma'ravai, on the west side of that bottom half. Umalcham, they salted all this. It's a carbon, it's a malicha. And that was the first phase. They didn't actually take it all the way up to the Mizbeach. They left it on the ramp in the meantime. Yardu, they came off the ramp. Bo'alan l'shchagaz, they came to l'shchagaz, l'kriz Shema, to read the Shema. As we're going to see later, to daven, to, basic davening. They were in the midst of the avodah. They didn't have enough time to do a proper davening, but, some basic fundamentals like Krishma, that they had time for. Now the Mishnah began with Akedah. They wouldn't tie it properly, they do it in Akedah. Tani, we learned in the Brayso. So what does that mean? Yad v'regel, they would tie the hand to the leg. Ka'akedas, just like the Akedas of Yitzchak ben Avraham. They wouldn't make a full bind. Why? My time, what's wrong with fully tying all the legs? Rav Huna, Rav Chizda, each one had a reason. Chada won't explain, Mishum de B'zayin Kachim. It's disrespectful to a carbon to tie him up like that, like a regular animal. The other one explained because this would be an emulation of the way the Goyim would prepare their offerings to their idols. So we try to do things in a way that does not resemble that. Might be not any difference between the two reasons. The difference would be the kafse. B'shiroi, let's say he did a full binding, but he used silk ropes. So B'zayin would not apply. But it's still chukei ha'amim. Inami, another option, but it's a dahava, golden strings. So it would be very respectful, very covered, but it wouldn't be appropriate because it's chukei ha'amim. Now, Hasim, I have a Mishnah in Masechas Shkolim, actually, with the whole printout of things which are related to number 13. One of which are the tables. Shalosh Esrei Shulchanos. We found 13 tables in the Beis HaMikdash. Shmoina Shel Shaish, as follows. 8 were marble topped. Beis HaMikdash, where they processed the carbonates. Shalein Madich and Sakrayim, on which they would rinse the insides, like we said before. Beis, 2 more tables. B'marop Shel Kevesh, on the west of the Kevesh, of the Mizbeach. Echad Shel Shaish, 1 made of stone. Ve'echad Shel Kesef, 1 topped with silver. What for? Al Shel Shaish, the one of stone. Nois in the Seivarim, they would place the limbs of the carbon. So let's say you had a carbon yachad, a private carbon. That was sort of the stopover. You would leave it there until it's ready for the mizbeach. Val shal kesed, the one of silver. Klei sharas, they would line up the klei sharas, the utensils for the the day's use of the in the Beis HaMikdash. Ubu ulam. More tables were in the ulam, the entry room to the heichal. Shnayim bifnim, in the inside of the ulam. Al Pesach Bayis, alongside the entry to the Heichel. Echad shel kesef, echad shel zav, one silver, one gold. And some actually learned the kesef was really stone. It was like whitish. It looked like silver. Either way, it was of a lower quality than the other one. What for? Al shel kesef noisnin lechem apanim bechnis sosai. So the lechem apanim on the way into the Heichel every Shabbos, they would first place it down on the silver one, and then val shel zav b'tziyasei, when they export the lechem apanim on the way out, they would place it on the gold one. So you would upgrade from silver to gold to highlight the point, shemalin b'kodesh, when we really meant to upgrade the matters of kedusha, not downgrade. So you meant to go up. Hence, the system where they went from silver to gold or from stone to gold. So we're up to 12. Where was the 13th one? Oh, the famous shulchan in the Heichel for the lechem apanim. Ve'echad shel zav b'fnim. One was the golden shulchan in the Heichel, she'olav lechem apanim tamid, which had the constant presence of lechem apanim. Now the obvious question is, they could afford gold, do it all around. Why stone? Look, ain't aniyus. Not meant to display, stinginess or poverty. B'mokim ashuris, in a place of wealth, opulence, and bracha, place of Beis HaMikdash. Do everything most grand and royal fashion. Amai avdi d'shaish. Why at all make of stone and marble? Ni'avdu d'chesef, ni'avdu d'av. Make them all the kesef of silver, ni'avdu d'zav, all gold. Amar Kinnim bar b'shem Rabbi Asi. Rabbi Asi b'shem Rabbi Shmuel bar Rabbi Yitzchak. It wasn't a matter of stinginess. It was for a practical reason, Neshu martiach, because metal tends to warm. So you don't want to put the warm bread on it because it's just going to warm it up and spoil. You don't want to put the warm limbs of the fresh animal because it's still warm and it's going to heat up. You want it to be cold. To preserve it, keep it fresh. And that's why they use stone. So as we explained, which rings would they use? The ones that were opposite the sun. How do we know that these are the location? The two carbonates are meant to be layayim. Keneged ayim, opposite the sun. Hence, these specific locations. Tanam, you find the same in the Brisa. The pasuk says shnayim, two carbonates layayim. It means keneged ayim, situated opposite the sun. Atom, you're saying keneged ayim opposite the sun. Maybe it means two per day. Not related to location. No, that's already spoken elsewhere. The pasuk already says, one you do in the morning, the second one in the afternoon. So we know it's twice a day. We know it's twice per day. Why does the pasuk have to repeat? Two for the day. Oh, opposite the sun, which makes day. Okay, how do you work this out? As we explained, Talmud shach in the morning, which was at the extreme west, a bit away from the Mizbeach, to give you that exposure to the sun, and in the afternoon, same spot, exactly on the opposite side. Okay, so that concludes the description of the first phase of the Akrava of the Carbon Talmud. So we had the Mishnah where they would do Akedas HaKarban, reminiscent of Akedas Yitzchak. They would proceed with the Zrika. And the two diagonal corners of the Mizbeach, it's called Shnaim Shem Arba, and the two corners which actually spread into four, because each one is splashed on the two sides. We discussed how they would hang the animal, flay it, dissect it into the sections, appropriate for the Kehanim who were tasked with transporting the parts of the carbon to the kevesh, along with the mincha material and the wine. We had the listing of the 13 shulchanes. We explained why it was of stone to preserve the freshness of the material placed upon it, and how they would do the shchita at the appropriate ring in accordance with the pasuk of Shnaim Alayim, directly opposite the sun. All the best to you, and Hatzlacha.